Good evening. Welcome to the first of two end-of-year review videos that I'm doing. This video will cover paid running events that I have attended in 2025. The second video, out next week, will detail my parkruns for the year, including my top 5 locations and an overview of my parkrun performance over the last 12 months. Today, I will be covering my top 10 paid races of 2025, including the medals, how the race went, and how much I enjoyed the event. Right, let's crack on with number 10. Well, actually, there isn't a number 10, as I only did 9 races this year, so straight on to number 9. In at number 9 is the Nosal 10k-ish. It's called 10k-ish as it's actually over 11 kilometres, but at least they do acknowledge this at the start. The course is a real generous mix of boardwalk, canal, country lanes, fields and woodland. It was a mildly warm day at 18 degrees, though it did absolutely hammer it down just after I finished. I went into this run with an aim of enjoying it and taking it as it came rather than racing it, and my finishing time of 1 hour 18 and 33 reflects this. I found the ground on the field was very uneven and a little tricky to run on, but the woodland section, though it was significantly uphill, was really good fun. Some negatives are that I came within a gnat's crotchet of falling in the canal as you go down some very dodgy steps, and I tripped on a stump. There was also no medal for me at this event, and whilst there was a t-shirt, they did not have my size at the end, so I was given a medium that didn't fit and has now been stolen by my wife. Finally, there was water at the end, but in the goodie bag was an energy drink, and I don't particularly like those. Overall, it was a nice, varied run that was good fun, and the race photos were free. In at number 8 is the Alton 10k. Now, I hadn't planned to do this trail run, but I went for a ramble with work colleagues in Dimmingsdale and spotted the signs advertising the race. I didn't have any trail shoes and I was expecting it to be a bit muddy, so I wore my very old and now binned pair of Brooks as a final hurrah for them. Unfortunately, I ended up bruising my heel, but that is mostly down to my choice of equipment. The Alton 10k starts next to Alton Castle, and you are able to run through the grounds, starting with a lovely downhill that you are well aware you will be coming back up again at the end. There is a significant hill in the middle of this race that everyone in my pack ended up walking. It was also quite sandy, so tricky to get a grip underfoot. The downhill sections were nice, but they were also quite technical, so it was difficult to get up some speed. Like the Chester Half, which will feature on this list at some point, the end is a steep uphill that can be challenging for tired legs. A couple of other runners also got lost in the woods and ended up doing an extra mile of running, though I think that was down to where the marshal was standing, so it wasn't obvious which way to go. A really enjoyable race and a nice medal to go with it. I don't think there were any other goodies at the end, but it is a smaller race organised by a club, so you don't really expect anything else. One I may do again if I pick up some trail shoes. And here is the medal. Very nice. Number 7 is the Chester 10k. This was the first run of the Chester Triple Series and the one I missed out on in 2024 due to a calf strain. At the time, I achieved my second fastest 10k, coming in at 1 hour 55 seconds, though my training hadn't been optimal prior to the race. The first 3k started well, but looking at the splits, it kind of fell apart 4km onwards. The race is very well organised and starts on the road overlooking the racecourse before working through the city centre and out to the surrounding villages. The race photos are free and the crowd support as you go through the centre of Chester was excellent. The Chester medals are always really solid and chunky and very high quality, and it also came with a nice shirt. The main thing about the 3 Chester races is how well organised they are, and they remain exceptional value for money. Right, this is the Chester 10K medal. Very chunky, very nice. At number 6 is a controversial choice, the Chester Metric Marathon, the final race of the Chester Triple. But why is it controversial? Because I didn't do very well due to an injury sustained at 16 kilometres into the race, and I came the closest I have ever been to not finishing a race. Like the previous entry in this list, the Metric Marathon was very well organised. We started inside the racecourse and worked our way out and round the city, much like the 10K. The race was going really well until 16 kilometres when I strained something in my hip that got progressively more painful, forcing me to walk. At one point I stopped running and walking, sat down and seriously considered pulling out. I put this at number 6 because of my sheer determination to not quit and to get that triple medal. Both the metric medal and the triple medal are fantastic, and I'm very proud of myself for achieving it, despite the challenges I faced. The goodie bag was great, and there was a nice long sleeve shirt as well. Like the other Chester races, photos were free again. Though I didn't see much of it, the event village at the end was very good, with a live band and other stalls. Check out my video if you want to see just how hard the race was for me. Now the medal is this one. Again, very, very nice. And of course, being the last run of the Triple Series, it also came with this. The triple medal. Very, very nice. Very proud of that one. We're halfway through the list and it's the Dirty Dozen in at number 5. This was a trail race at Cannock Chase and is another race that's longer than advertised, being 13 kilometres instead of 12. Again, the organisers acknowledge this before you start with the quote, "You're getting more for your money." I suppose that's fair. I still don't own trail shoes, but the run and ride at Milford let us try out shoes for the event. Cannock Chase is lovely to run in, but it was very hilly. I had planned to run this with Patrick. He was going to take it easy, but I went out way too quick, completing the first kilometre in 5:48, after which I spectacularly blew up. I've placed this race at position 5 because of how much I enjoyed it, and I would like to do it again, though I am not doing it in 2026 as it is very close to the Manchester Marathon and I do not want to pick up any injuries that could jeopardise that. The best bit of the race is the Ditch of Doom, which is a waist-deep, muddy puddle that you have to wade through. It's very good fun, as long as you don't fall over. The medal was lovely and a little different to others, and whilst my performance wasn't great, the run was very good fun. Again, race photos were free. And here is the medal. It's nice and orange. Very nice. Now we are getting into my best races of the year. And at number 4 is the Fradley 10K. Advertised as fast and flat, I went into Fradley with a sub-60 10K in mind. Though I didn't quite meet that target, coming in at 34 seconds over the hour, it was a strong performance from me at the time and gave me a 10K PB. The course was indeed fast, and it was mostly flat with a relatively small incline completed on each of the 2 laps. The start is a short walk away from the event village, which was a little confusing, and I think the marshal was about to have kittens looking at the toilet line only a few minutes before the race, but it all worked out fine. There's a nice little medal for this one, and you also got a lovely beanie that I have seen other YouTubers wearing. I have already booked this race again for 2026 and I will be 3/4 of my way into my marathon training, so I am hoping I'll be fitter and able to smash out a good time. No free photos on this one, and it's probably best as I kind of look like death crossing the line. Here's the medal. It's a little one, but nice. Right, top 3 time. Sneaking in at number 3 is the Chester Half Marathon, the middle race of the Chester Triple. This was the second time completing this race, and in 2024 I achieved a time of 3 hours and 8 seconds, though it was an absolutely roasting day. This year I smashed over 30 minutes off that time, coming in at sub 2 hour 30 with a 2 hour 29 and 47 seconds. I went out way too quick again, and this is represented in my deteriorating split times as the race goes on, but it was another warm day. I'll say it again, the organisation of the Chester races is excellent, and there were free photos again. The course is fairly hilly with several steep inclines, including one right at the end of the race. Both calves cramped at the top of that incline, so annoyingly I had to stop briefly only a couple of 100 metres from the end, and I finished up with a strong kick to make up time. Another solid and chunky medal, and a nice shirt, plus a generous goodie bag makes this a race to do again in the future. Having done the Chester races in 24 and 25, I'm not doing them again for 26, but I will be back. Here is the medal, nicely different to the other two, as it is a different organiser. Now, which race has just missed out on the top spot in my list? Well, at number 2 we have Cathedral to Castle. This is an incredible point-to-point race from Beacon Park in Lichfield to the Tamworth Castle grounds. It's a 16-kilometre race covering, similar to the Nosal 10K, grass, road, country lane, canal and woodland. Starting in Beacon Park, you'll work your way up the field before heading around the outside of the ever-impressive Lichfield Cathedral, working through the city centre and then out onto the nearby country lanes. It was very dry, so those country lanes were a bit dusty. A unique and interesting point was running through the firing range at Whittington Barracks. After going across some fields, we entered Hopwas Woods, where I fell over, and then onto the canal before heading into Tamworth and ending up in the pleasure grounds beneath Tamworth Castle. In 2024, I did this race in 1 hour, 57 minutes and 34 seconds. In 2025, I came in at a respectable 1 hour, 45 minutes and 23 seconds. The medal was okay, and there was a running shirt that tends to be the same each year, but a different colour. This time it was a bright yellow. I thought it was okay, but I haven't worn it that much since. I would definitely be doing this run again in 26, but it is on the same day as the Manchester Marathon, so I am skipping it for this year, but I will be back. An incredibly fun race with just the right level of challenge for me. And here is the medal for this one. Say little medal, wee little medal. There it is. And here we are at the top spot on my list of races for 2025. And in that spot, at number 1, my favourite race of the year is the Stafford 10K. As I said in my video covering this event, the Stafford 10K was the first proper race I did back in 2023 with colleagues from work. Back then, the 10K took me 1 hour and 20 minutes. In 2024, the rain was like nothing I have ever ran in before. It seriously came down hard and I loved it. And I finished in 1 hour, 3 minutes. This year, with an improving 5K time, I wanted to get sub 60. The Stafford 10K is not an easy course. There's a fairly steep hill in the middle of the run, and if that is not managed well, it can really take your breath for the rest of the run. This year the weather was good, my fitness was in a reasonable place, and it all came together to give me a finish time of 59 minutes and 43 seconds, achieving my sub 60 goal. There's great support throughout the race, both as you run through the town centre and further out into the surrounding areas. All of this race takes place on road or pavement, except a short section where you run along the route of the Isabel Trail Parkrun. I will be doing this race again in 2026, and perhaps I'll get an even better time. Here is the medal for this one. So that's my top 10 races of 2025, well 9. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and remember next week I will be covering my year of parkrun, listing my top 5 locations and looking at my performance overall. All the best. Thanks for coming, and if I don't see you before, have a lovely Christmas. Ta-ra.